Hey guys, I just wanted to do my review of Agent Carter. This is going to be episode 6 and 7, Life of the Party and Monsters. This was two back-to-back episodes that aired tonight. So basically, because Jason Wilkes is losing his ability to be seen on our our physical plane, like he's fading in and out. He realizes he needs to use a containment chamber, and get a sample of the zero matter from Whitney Frost in order to be corporeal again. The thing is that Sousa points out that Peggy's going to be recognized, and she's still suffering from her injury, so she can't be out in the field by anybody involved in the Council of Nine conspiracy. So, out of desperation, they break Dottie Underwood out of custody and put a tracking device on her and have her go in with Jarvis to a party being held by Senator Chadwick, Whitney Frost, Council 9. They're all there. And also find Jack Thompson there, so Jarvis has to distract him, but of course Jack is immediately because they're trying to wonder, what Jack Thompson's involvement in all of this, and Jack immediately realizes that if Jarvis is there, that Peggy's up to something, and he wants to lock down the perimeter, and so they kind of exchange some harsh words about Thompson getting mixed up with these shady people, and Jarvis is being Stark's butler. Of course, Dottie is able to get the blood sample from Whitney Frost, but then she decides to spy on the meeting being held by Chadwick and Whitney Frost in front of the Council of Nine, and that's when she demonstrates her powers on her rat and devours her. But it turns out the whole thing was a trap in which two of the guards try to subdue Whitney, and apparently Chadwick was apparently horrified of her, and apparently just thinking he's a threat to him and the rest of the Council of Nine. So, in rage, Whitney Frost kills the guards, uses her powers to kill the guards. Probably five out of the 9 members of the council, as well as her husband for the betrayal. And so the 4 remaining living members, including Hugh Jones, are strong-armed into working for Whitney Frost because they don't want to suffer the same fate. And she strong-arms them into saying that they can change the world, and they have to fabricate the story about what happened to Chadwick and the people she's killed. And as soon as Dottie leaves the room, she gets spotted by Vernon Masters, and she's able to beat up his henchman. But then she gets knocked out by Jack Thompson, and you see the vial of Whitney's blood fall on the floor, and you're wondering what's going to happen with that. But luckily Jarvis, between the commercial breaks off screen, was able to grab the vial and give it to Peggy. And there's this moment while Peggy and Sousa are in the van talking, and Peggy's got to let go of her pride and know when to ask for help, especially when she tries to go out into the field and things are going to hell. But she tears the stitches in her from her rebar injury, and she starts bleeding out, and she wants to go see Violet, Sousa's fiance, to put the stitches back in. But Sousa admits that Violet broke off their engagement because she suspects that Sousa is still in love with Peggy. And they have this moment where they're about to kiss, but it's interrupted when one of the men that Dottie was beating up lands on top of the van. And so, because of the whole fiasco, they're forced to retreat, and Dottie's taken captive by Whitney Frost and, I guess, taken by Whitney Frost and company. And Vernon's going to try to torture her. Is going to try to torture her for information, but Dottie's not intimidated and knows all the tricks and talks about how I ripped out my own hair, I pulled out my own teeth, I burned my own flesh with a blowtorch. It's like nothing you do is going to work on me, and you can tell that Vernon's terrified of Whitney Frost, and it's only when Whitney Frost uses her power, starts using her powers on Dottie, is where it's like you can just see where she's like starts like smiling nervously when she walks into the room, and then her face just goes to complete terror, especially after she starts using Frost starts using her powers on her, and she just starts breaking and telling them, Peggy broke me out of prison to get your blood sample and use the zero matter to help Dr. Wilkes, and so meanwhile, they're able to use the sample in the machine to make Dr. Wilkes corporeal again, but that's only after Wilkes is freaking out, saying, "Why do you care about Dottie Underwood? Why not just leave her at Frost Mercy? She encourages Peggy to activate the neurotoxin in her tracking device and kill her." And he just realizes that, sorry, I didn't know what I was talking about, that the dark force is causing him to take a toll on his sanity, but not to the same extent that it had with Whitney. And but of course the experiment works, but it turns out Wilkes can't leave the containment chamber because you won't be able to stay corporeal. But it turns out that because Jarvis entered in the wrong code for a device that was supposed to emit a shockwave for when they were supposed to break into Whitney's Frost mansion to get Dottie, that instead of it didn't emit a shockwave, and even though Peggy and Jarvis got captured, it did have a secondary function where the device caused an explosion that basically knocked everyone unconscious or killed them, all the henchmen anyway. And when Jarvis and Peggy realized that Dottie gave up what told them about Wilkes and Anna, and that they're both in danger from Whitney and company, this is the first time you see Jarvis go from this kind of goofy, kind of karmic relief action guy to basically just more of intense, and and Peggy's fearful for Wilkes' life, and Jarvis is worried about his wife Anna, and so they're like rushing back to the mansion. But basically, Whitney Frost and I forgot her ex's name are there to capture him, and apparently by Wilkes absorbing some of the dark matter, the dark force zero matter from Whitney, he's able to stay corporeal while being outside the device. And Ken Marino, who's playing the X, knocks the guy unconscious, and they're about to and so they're carrying Wilkes out to the car. Anna tries to stop them, but of course Frost just shoots her in the stomach, and just to slow down Peggy Carter and Jarvis, and then they have to take her to the hospital, and then Sousa was going to come to her aid, but apparently he got jumped by these guys in ski masks when he was about to walk out the door. What else? And that's when Empress, I guess it was implied that Vernon Masters sent them to Sousa's place when he couldn't strong arm him in his office in an earlier scene. So he decides, because of his bad shape, he takes over the SSR LA branch on behalf of Whitney Frost, and of course Dottie Underwood escapes because the cop doesn't listen to Peggy's instructions not to go near her or let her out of the car. So I don't know if she's going to come back for later in the season, or maybe for like season 3, because apparently there are 3 more episodes after this. And they're gonna do another two more. They're gonna do 2 more episodes next week, and then the week after is the season finale, because they're doing 10 episodes this for season 2 instead of 8 episodes like they did in season 1, just to make sure they can bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. back by March. So I thought this was really some really good episodes. It's really starting to get, this is really like getting down. It's really those episodes where it's getting down to the wire. They're upping the ante. The stakes are higher than ever, and I'm looking forward to next week's episode. So, what do you guys think of the 2 episodes that aired tonight? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.